The importance of motivation in an educational environment. In this lesson, you'll see how motivation affects learning. Discover the behaviors and perspectives that relate to motivation in an educational environment. Motivation. Dara and Theta are two students in the same first grade class who exhibit different interests and behaviors. Dara loves indulging in art activities like coloring, drawing, and illustrating, and he spends most of his free time doing so. In contrast, Theta dislikes art and avoids it whenever possible. Despite their divergent interests, both Dara and Theta are high achievers and attentive listeners. However, motivation plays a crucial role in shaping their behaviors and is vital to creating an effective learning environment. According to experts, motivation is a state that energizes, directs, and sustains behavior. It involves setting goals and requiring action. Goals provide the direction and impetus for action, while action entails effort and persistence in sustaining an activity for a long period of time. There are several recognized indices of motivation that are important to be aware of. These indices provide a way to measure the level of motivation a person has towards a particular activity. One of the most prominent indices of motivation is the selection of a task under free choice conditions. This means that when presented with several options, an individual will choose a task that they are motivated to perform. For example, Dara's tendency to engage in art activities during his free time is indicative of his motivation towards art and art-type activities. Another indicator of motivation is the level of effort an individual puts into a task. In the case of Theta, her avoidance of drawing and art suggests that she lacks motivation towards these activities. In contrast, if a student diligently works on a challenging math problem, this would indicate a higher level of motivation towards math activities. The duration of time an individual spends on a task is also an indicator of motivation. In particular, working for an extended period, especially after facing numerous obstacles, is associated with higher motivation. For instance, Banha, a student in PE class, struggled to master jumping rope, but he chose to continue trying during recess. This indicates a high level of motivation towards mastering the activity of jumping rope despite the difficulties he faced. The indices of motivation. Finally, the level of achievement is determined by different factors such as choice, effort, and persistence. When these factors are higher, it is more likely to have a higher level of motivation and therefore task achievement. However, it is important to note that the level of achievement can be affected by other factors as well, such as personal interests, learning styles, and cultural background. In the classroom, it is crucial for educators to be aware of these factors and to reinforce activities and interests that students already show a partiality for. This is where the concept of situational motivation comes into play. Situational motivation refers to the phenomenon in which aspects of the immediate environment enhance motivation to learn specific things or behave in particular ways. By creating a classroom environment that motivates students to learn and behave in ways that promote their long-term success, educators can foster a positive learning experience for their students. Some ways in which educators can create a motivating classroom environment include providing students with opportunities for hands-on learning, incorporating technology into the curriculum, and offering praise and recognition for students' achievements. Additionally, educators can encourage students to set goals for themselves and to track their progress towards these goals. In conclusion, understanding the factors that affect achievement and situational motivation is crucial for creating a positive learning environment in the classroom. By implementing strategies to enhance motivation and promote student success, educators can help their students achieve their full potential. How motivation affects learning and behavior. Motivation plays a vital role in students' learning and behavior. With motivation, students become more focused and productive in their academic and extracurricular activities. Let's explore the different effects of motivation on students' behavior and learning. Firstly, motivation helps students determine their goals and aspirations. It directs their behavior towards particular goals and affects the choices they make. For example, if a student is motivated to excel in science, they will enroll in advanced science courses and attend science fairs and exhibitions. Secondly, motivation leads to increased effort and energy. Students with high motivation levels put more effort into their studies and pursue tasks with enthusiasm. They take on challenging assignments and work hard to accomplish their goals. Thirdly, motivation increases the initiation and persistence of activities. Students who are motivated to learn will spend more time on tasks, both in and out of the classroom. They will try to relate new information to their existing knowledge and apply it to real-life scenarios. Fourthly, motivation enhances cognitive processing. Motivated students are more likely to pay attention in class and try to understand what they are learning. They actively engage in the learning process and apply critical thinking skills to solve problems. Fifthly, motivation determines what consequences are reinforcing and punishing. Students who are motivated to achieve academic success are more likely to be reinforced by good grades and positive feedback from their teachers and peers. On the other hand, they will be discouraged by poor grades and negative feedback. Finally, motivation leads to improved performance. A combination of all the above factors, effort, initiation, persistence, cognitive processing, and reinforcement, leads to improved performance. Motivated students achieve better academic results and are more likely to succeed in their future endeavors. Theoretical perspectives of motivation. There are multiple ways to approach and study motivation. In fact, there are many perspectives that can be used to better understand the concept of motivation. Let's discuss 4 major perspectives in more detail. Theorists propose that motivation involves enduring personality characteristics that learners have to a greater or lesser degree. For example, some people like to engage in exciting and possibly dangerous experiences, versus other people who are just as happy in less physical activities. In the classroom, teachers should identify motivational traits and use differing instructional strategies that address these differences among their students. Additionally, it's important to note that the trait perspective is not only limited to the classroom setting. These traits can be applied to other areas of life, such as work, relationships, and personal hobbies. Moving on to our second perspective, the behaviorist perspective. Behaviorists propose that people behave primarily to obtain reinforcing outcomes. For example, a student might practice hard at a PE skill, such as jump rope, in order to be recognized for their efforts during the next class. Teachers should administer consequences that increase desirable behaviors and decrease those behaviors that are not so desirable. It's important to note that this perspective is not limited to the classroom, but can also be applied to other areas of life, such as the workplace or personal relationships. A third perspective is the social cognitive perspective. This perspective places emphasis on goals, expectations, and one's own belief in their abilities. In this case, the teacher should encourage efforts towards self-selected goals and provide guidance and support to help the student stay motivated to reach their goal. Furthermore, this perspective is not limited to the classroom setting. It can be applied to other areas of life, such as sports, music, and personal hobbies. The final perspective we will cover is the cognitive perspective. Here, psychologists focus on how mental processes affect motivation. They propose that humans are naturally inclined to make sense of their world, and they are motivated by perceived discrepancies between new information and existing beliefs. In the classroom, teachers could take advantage of this perspective by pointing out how new information may contradict students' existing beliefs, and use that discrepancy to motivate the students to learn and understand new concepts. This perspective can also be applied to other areas of life, such as work, relationships, and personal hobbies, as we are constantly learning and making sense of the world around us. Lesson summary: motivation is a powerful force in driving behavior, particularly in the classroom. To recognize a learner's level or state of motivation, educators can observe which tasks the learner chooses on their own, and how much effort they put forth in a given task, as well as their level of persistence. High levels of motivation can increase persistence, enhance cognitive processes, and lead to improved performance. Thus, it is important for educators to be aware of these different traits and reinforcing consequences of their students, and to use natural motivation and curiosity to guide the learning of new and more complex tasks.